It is a grey and rainy morning at Valmikinagar, in the West Champaran district of the state of Bihar. The rains are untimely. It is the end of February, and especially disappointing for Dr. Sameer Kumar Sinha and his associate Subrat Kumar Behra, conservationists at the Wildlife Trust of India. No sun would mean barely any chances of spotting any wildlife. And surely no chances of finding what they've come to these vast plains along the Gandak River for. The gharial, the fish-eating, long-snouted crocodilian endemic to the Indian subcontinent and listed as critically endangered.
Globally, there are three categories of crocodilians. One is crocodile, other is alligator, and the last one is gharial. So gharial is a single genus family, which is known as Gavelidae. So gharial is different from the other two, alligators and crocodiles. Alligators are not found in India, but if in India there are two types of crocodiles. One is mugger crocodile and other is saltwater crocodile. Gharial is, if you see the morphology of gharial, it is different than the mugger or the saltwater crocodile. It has a long snout, and important thing is that gharial is the only crocodilian having sexual dimorphism. Sexual dimorphism means you can see an adult gharial and you can assess whether it is a male or a female. So in male gharials there is a big pot-like structure on the snout, on the tip of the snout, which is called khada. So it is different from the other two crocodilians found in India. And other two crocodilians, they do have conflict with human being, but gharial doesn't have any conflict with human being.
A Himalayan tributary of the Ganges, the Gandak descends into the Indian plains at Valmikinagar from Nepal, where it is called the Narayani. Its deep waters today hold the second largest population of gharials in all its distribution range, which includes India, Nepal, Bangladesh and parts of Bhutan. But this wasn't the story even till a few years ago. The location of the Gandak along the Indo-Nepal border and then between the states of Uttar Pradesh and Bihar had been a hotbed for bandits and antisocial elements for the longest time, making it impossible for its waters to be surveyed for wildlife. Around 2007, when the law and order situation improved and a survey was finally conducted, it was discovered that only 200 surviving gharials remained in its entire distribution range, prompting the IUCN to recognize the species as critically endangered. Gharials have been on the red list ever since.
A survey was undertaken in Gandak River in 2010 January. So it was a multi-organizational, multi-species survey. So otter, gharial and Gangetic dolphin, they become the focus area of the survey, focus species of the survey. So this multi-organizational, multi-species survey was started it was done in January 2010. We were also a part of that survey. During that survey, we found 10 gharials in the river. 10 gharials were directly sighted. Apart from that, evidences of 5 more gharials were located. So we felt that yes, at least 15 gharials are in the river system. And after that 2010 survey, we pursued with the Bihar Forest Department, and our idea was to strengthen the existing wild population, because 10 individuals of a critically endangered species, you know, gharial is a critically endangered species.
30 sub-adult gharials were released from the Patna Zoo into the river in 2 phases and closely monitored. Some satellite tagged, some tagged with radio transmitters. By 2015, the numbers had risen to 54.
These 54 gharials, it didn't include our released individuals. So from there, in that survey, we recorded that there are few yearlings also. Yearlings means the length of gharial was about 1 meter or less than that, and it means that the breeding of the species is going on somewhere in the river.
Locating nests and protecting them has been one of the primary focus areas for the WTI, and one in which the local community play an elemental part. In the last week of March every year, this barrage on the Gandak releases huge amounts of water, in the process eroding the sandbanks which serve as nesting grounds for gharials, possibly the biggest threat to breeding in all these years. Most of these nests are in remote places where access is difficult. And that is where efforts of local communities and fishermen like Sohan Saini play a part. Saini's monthly earnings could be anything between 10,000 to 30,000 rupees, depending on his catch. Officially, he is paid nothing yet for helping in the conservation program, but he doesn't mind.
ये आता था सब चेक चाक करने के लिए नंबर दिया तो हम भी देखने लगे कि यहाँ है वहाँ है तो घोंसला मिला। घोंसला मिलने के बाद हम सर अथी नंबर दिया था, नंबर से हम फ़ोन करके उसको बताए। बताने के बाद तो बोला कि अच्छा ठीक है, आप देखिएगा खोजिएगा, जब होगा तब फ़ोन कीजिएगा।
इतना बड़ा वही पहले मतलब
Once a nest is identified, depending on the vulnerability of its location, it is shifted from the river bank to a safer area. Gharial eggs typically take about 70 days to incubate. Once ready for the wild, the hatchlings are released back into the river. Apart from habitat alteration and poaching of adults, poaching of eggs has also been one of the many reasons for declining numbers. In many places, locals dig out gharial eggs and are known to eat them.
Last year, we moved a proposal in the Bihar State Board for Wildlife to notify a critical area of about 140 kilometers of the river as a conservation reserve, means giving it a status of a protected area. If you give it a status of conservation reserve, it will involve locals in conservation of gharial, plus there won't be any land use change in the river banks. So it is going to be a good step. It is going to be a long-term conservation activity, conservation action for the gharial population in the Gandak River.
While the threat from the barrage still exists, the WTI has opened up discussions with the state forest and irrigation departments, the latter proposing to work with a safe limit of water release once a number has been arrived at.
यार पानी तो थोड़ा ये तो कम है यहाँ पर।
कितना है जी?
यहाँ तो अभी तो जीरो दिखा रहा है, जीरो दिखा रहा है।
As per the recent survey that we did in 2019, there are 251 minimum number of gharials in the river, and gharials occupy almost 70 to 80% stretch of the river. We do have 6 to 7 adult male gharials with a ghada on their snout. It means they are breeding males, and the female population is quite healthy. The yearlings and hatchlings are always seen during the surveys. It shows that the breeding of the species is going on in the river.
Reaching up to 12 to 15 feet in length and weighing up to 2,000 pounds, these elusive animals may not look the friendliest, but they are vital to a river system. Deep pools of water and sufficient sandbanks, the presence of fish and therefore plankton, are all vital to the survival of a gharial and reflective of a healthy and thriving river ecosystem.